You may remember this little baby. It's a 1936 Austin 7 engine that was just full of gunk, and I cleaned it all off and such like. This is it clean. So it's been lying for a few months. I haven't done anything to it. Now, it's not moving again. I'm just going to scoosh some stuff in it, and we're going to get started rebuilding this. That oil dipstick is jammed in there. I'll need to get that out. The pistons are all there. The ring's disintegrated. And we're going to try and do something with this. Rebuild it, get it going. That will be the interesting thing. And I'm just going to show you the car that it came out of. So this is the little baby over here. And, it's become a collecting point for junk now, of course. But my father is saying this is restorable. So God bless him. I don't know if it's restorable. It's a storage place for bits and pieces just now. There's the front grille off it, I have the gearbox, the cylinder block. The gearbox is actually pretty good. And, from all the indications that my dad was saying, it's quite a low mileage car. Probably is. 1936. Now, the reason I bought this piece of junk was because of my 1937, right? Which is this one. It's an Opel 1937. I've had that since I was 17 years old. But when I worked that out, it's 17 years. 16, 17 years. So, I've already had something good come of this. I got one of the trafficators out of that old one. I haven't wired them up yet, but now one of them got destroyed on the shipment over. Now I have both trafficators in my Austin 7. I haven't wired them up yet, but I will. And this wheel came off that junk heap, believe it or not. A little bit of finagling and refinishing, and put a new tyre and tube on it, and it's looking pretty good. The reason for that is the spokes on my wheel. Is it this one? Yeah, you can see, well, maybe you can't, but the spokes on this were really loose, and the wheel actually became unsafe. I don't know if I'm capable of fixing that or not, but the wheel that came off this junker was much better, believe it or not. So anyway, the task is, I need a spare engine. That's the exact same engine, right? So I'm just going to show you. Crappy wiring, that's my wiring, but that's my engine. That's exactly the same as that engine you were just looking at, except this runs, right? And if you're interested, I'll show you that running. But this engine runs pretty good. This is an engine my dad built. And we'll try and rebuild that one. I aspire to get it running like this one runs, which is pretty damn good actually. So back to this guy. I think by definition this is a 2-bearing engine. Good grief, forgive me, those aficionados who know better than me. I think the 3rd bearing would be in the middle there, and there is no 3rd bearing here. Alright, oh God, I apologise. That's not true. But anyway, I just left the crank shaft like this. But now, of course, if I'm going to intend fixing this up and get it running, I need to dismantle all this, see what the journals look like. If it's got shell bearings, that'll be a miracle. I don't think it will be. They'll need a new white metal. There's a name for that. Babbitt's, right? Babbitt bearings here in the States. So I'll need to find some place that does that. I've been told, the old Fords had Babbitt bearings. All the old American cars had Babbitt bearings. So I should be able to find some place that does that. So I'll get this moving again. I'll give it a scoosh of penetrating oil and work on it, get it moving. And then, it's a massive cleanup, and get all the bearings cleaned out and dismantle it all to the extent it needs to be dismantled, and then mantle it, as James used to say, put it back together again, and that'll be fun. So watch this space. So here's an interesting thing. I'm starting to clean up the outside of the engine before I start on the outside. These casting marks or cracks, look at this definitely looks like a crack, right? I don't know how common this is in these things. And I know that my father used to use GB Weld if they weren't too serious, right? So it doesn't look good, does it? I mean, it looks as if it's had some kind of stuff stuck in there. I don't know what that is. Right, two very similar, like stress marks right underneath those studs, right? Down here, these might be casting marks, right? I don't think they're anything to worry about. I don't think they're cracks. But up here, that looks really suspicious, like a crack, doesn't it? So anyway, I'll keep on cleaning it up. You know, all the rest of it might be savable. And, you know, knowing me, I'll try and start the darn thing anyway and see if it falls to pieces. It probably will. But, so, more to come. So, apologies to the aficionados again. I'm calling that cylinder 1, piston 1, piston 2, piston 3, piston 4, alright? So I'm going to take 3 and 4 out, I'm going to mark them, and then if I can manage to, you know, move the crankshaft round, then I'll take 1 and 4. I seem to remember the firing order's 1, 3, 1, 3, 4, 2, 1, 3, 4, 2. Need to go check that. But anyway, 1 from the front of the engine. This is the front of the engine, right? Here is the front of the engine. The flywheel's at the back of the engine. So it's more for my records than anything else. That's piston 1. That's piston 2. Piston 3. Piston 4. 2 and 3 are coming out. Okay, right now. So I know all you aficionados, the experts know this, but you know these are castellated nuts. And there's a split pin through the end of the bolt, right? So you can see in this one, the split pin is bent over the top, so it can't come out, right? I just straightened this one out. I'm going to tap it out slowly. So there is the little split pin once it comes out, mangled of course. And I've busted a couple of knuckles as well. There's the nut once it's out. There's the other one up there, still in, right? So I'll get that out next and then try and take that piston out. Good grief, what a hassle that was. So I got both nuts off. Now I'm thinking all I have to do is pull that bottom half of the shell bearing, you know, the bottom half of the piston off. Aye, Conrod. So it's not coming off too easily, so I'd love to set this up on a tripod and let you watch me bust my knuckles, but I don't have a tripod on me right now, so just bear with me. Okay, so this is the first piston, number 2 from the front, right, number 2. I had to massacre the oil shield. I would not move. So I hope I haven't done any damage. I might have done some damage to the crankcase. I'll clean all that up in a minute. But anyway, so here's what we're looking at. I'll try and show you. The way to separate these two halves is I put the bolt, the nut back on there and just tapped it with my soft surface hammer and it came off. Right, so of course it won't come off again. Try and do this with one hand, of course, and that won't come off. So anyway, I'll try and show you the bearing surfaces. I have no idea. It's obviously not shell bearings, right? There's no shell bearings in that, so it's these Babbitts, which is white metal. I just cleaned it up. And, you know, there's some scoring on it, but I have no idea if there's white metal left on that. So if you guys know, maybe you can tell me if there's white metal left on that. Goodness knows. I'll take it apart and you can have a look. I wish I brought my other camera down, FYI. I'm making a hell of a mess on my phone. But there's the bearing surface. See if I can keep it in focus. So you can see some scoring on that. Right. I wouldn't know if that has white metal on it or not. think it does. And it, you know, I suddenly thought, oh, there's probably a correct way and a incorrect way of putting these things back together again. I gave these a wipe down, obviously, get all the sludge off it. Well, sludge, it was just my release oil, you know. I mean, it's in pretty good condition, right? I just don't know if that represents white metal or not. So anyway, I didn't know when, you know, when I put it back together again to show you guys how it goes together. I worried if I'd put it, but there's a check mark on each side. Look, there's a check mark on that, no check mark on this, and there's a check mark, no check mark there. There was a check mark on, oh crap, which one had the check mark on it? Seemed obvious when I put it together. One had a check mark, the other one did not have a check mark. That's it, there, see the check mark on it at the bottom, just below that wee round thing there. Anyway, pretty shitty condition as you would imagine with all that crap on it, right? I'll give it a good clean up. Forget about that oil shield, I know you can get them. I mean, you can get all this stuff, right? Renault 4 pistons fit on it, I know that, I read it in the forums. The pistons themselves don't look that too bad, right? Oh, they're seized, that one's seized in there anyway. I'll give that a good clean up and see if it's oversized. I don't know if it's oversized or not, find out. We'll clean it up, we'll have a look, okay? Okay, so here we have it. It is something, I don't know. 1.ID7? 1.07? No, ID7, made in England. 20, so that means it's 20 thou over. I mean, for being 1936, 4 years gives you 40, 64 plus 22, 66, 86 years old. It's a miracle you can read anything on it. ID7, made in England. Looks like an R or something. Oh jeez, you can't see what I can see, I guess. Sorry about the reflections. Okay. See the 20 down at the bottom? Oh, bloody hell. Better without the, right? Made in England, ID7. Some letters up at the top there. What I thought was really amazing was down here on the Conrod. Austin, isn't that awesome? There's enough. Oh yeah, there's a number on the other side. 1A348. I don't know if that means anything to you guys. So I screwed around for another wee while with lots of penetrating oil. Just wanted to show you. So there's the camshaft. This is the oil pump down here. It's the oil pump. That's the shaft. Oh god. Lighting, huh? There's the shaft for the oil pump. If I can do this. I just wanted to show you. We got it all moving. So watch that cog at the back there. So that's the crankshaft moving, right? Much easier. There's the cog for the camshaft. And then look at the, I was really worried about the shaft for the oil pump. Oh God. Can't quite make it out, but when I'm looking at it, that shaft for the oil pump's moving a little tiny bit as well, which is good. I hope I can cut this and you can see the shaft for the oil pump. Anyway, we're moving again. Thank goodness that was frozen solid again. Jeez, so much muck in it, right? So I'll keep on doing this and I'll get the rest of the, I've only got one piston off, obviously, that number 2. I need to get the others off. That'll be easier now the crankshaft's turning around. Very messy, man, very messy. So that's me out. I'll talk to you soon.